Hello there champs and welcome to the show. Today I'll be reviewing ASUS's Expedition GeForce 1050 Ti graphics card. And just on a side note, I'm filming this with the Pixel. Let me know if the video quality is any good. Now the 1050 Ti's recommended retail price is around $139 US, and the 1050, which is a 2GB version of this, slightly different clock speeds and different CUDA cores, I'll get onto that later, is $109 US. And in Australia you'll pick up one of these ASUS 1050 Ti's for around the $300 mark, something like that. So very affordable gaming, and of course I'm going to put it through all its benchmarks there and test it, see how good it is, how it compares to the 1060 and so on. But very affordable gaming. Both the 1050 and the 1050 Ti are based on the Pascal architecture, or Pascal, whichever way you want to say it. This 1050 Ti has 768 CUDA cores. The 1050 has 640 CUDA cores. This has 4GB of GDDR5, and the 1050 has 2GB of GDDR5 memory. The clock speed of this is 1290 MHz base clock and 1392 boost clock. And the base clock of the 1050 is 1354 MHz and 1455 MHz. And this has 768 CUDA cores compared to 640 CUDA cores on the 1050. So as you'll see, this is clocked slightly slower than the 1050. There's not much difference there, but it does have more CUDA cores and it has more RAM. And both of them have 128-bit memory architecture there. Now this is the ASUS Expedition 1050 Ti model here. This is like just a tier below what a Strix card would be. I'm not sure in every country, but this country here we get a 15-day trial of World Warships. As I said, it has the 4GB of GDDR5 memory, Auto Extreme. So what this means is, what this shares with the Strix cards is it's 100% automated process of manufacturing this graphics card. So this is where ASUS are leading the industry. A lot of other manufacturers, they don't have 100% automated production process. So basically, if you don't get an ASUS, you could have some bloke with shaky hands who's been drinking too much sake actually soldering the components on your graphics card. So what you get with this, 100% automated, so you get precision, much more reliable than a graphics card that has been put together partly by humans. Also with this, you get a 2-fan setup there. You also get a dual bearing fans. So that means 2 times longer lifespan, and also runs quieter, smoother, just a quality fan in there. Turn the box around here and you can see the specifications there. Non-stop durability, non-stop challenger. So basically what this means here is the 144 hours test pass. It's basically compatible with pretty much anything there. Has 3 years warranty there, peace of mind, and you can download and install, or it's probably got it on the disk, the GPU Tweak 2 with the XSplit Gamecaster, so you can broadcast your games with that software, and also you can overclock this graphics card here. And the good thing about GPU Tweak 2 is it's very simple to use, and if you haven't overclocked the graphics card before, it's definitely a great piece of software, so try it out. So let's have a look at it anyway. So basically, because this is a budget friendly card, you don't expect too much in here, so obviously you just get the graphics card. The CD that will have the Tweak software on there, and you get that World Warship 15-day pass there. So there it is, the Expedition ASUS 1050 Ti. And as you'll see, compared to some of the behemoths out there, it's tiny. It is really small. Nice and smooth bearings there. Sports this cool little red graphic there. On the top you have no power, of course, because this can take the power from the PCI slot. It's the back there, no backing plate. You wouldn't expect that on a budget sort of graphics card there. And with the I/O there, you have DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.0, and the DVI connector there. So even though this is a budget card, you can see its build quality is very high, and it's definitely what ASUS are known for. So let's crack on and see how it games. Alright, let's look at some benchmark scores. So first thing I tried was Battlefield 1, and I actually tried it at 4K just for a laugh. And I had it at ultra settings at 4K, and you could get 22 frames per second. Now 22 frames per second is not playable. If you lower those settings down to medium, you get around 25 to 30 frames per second. So that starts to be playable there. So the fact that this card can play Battlefield 1 at 4K, 25 to 30 frames per second at medium settings is quite astounding. Now this isn't a 4K graphics card, it's meant for 1080, but I just thought I'd try that, and it's interesting to see you could actually game 4K if you wanted to drop down the settings. Now it won't be able to game some games at 4K, but Battlefield 1 yes. Now let's drop it down to its target resolution, which is 1080, and you get 60 frames per second. Pretty much exactly, it's 60.8 frames per second, 1080p ultra settings on Battlefield 1. On Crysis 3, high settings, 1080p, you get 53.8 frames per second. Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, with the latest Deus Ex title at 1080p medium settings, you got 49 frames per second. And in GTA 5, very high settings, 1080p, you get a whopping 81 frames per second there. So basically you can play whatever you want at medium to ultra settings at 60 frames per second, 1080p. What more can you ask for, really? Especially at this price point. And if you're wondering, it's around 30 to 50% slower than a GTX 1060 in my testing, and it's around 23 to 32% faster than the AMD RX 460. Now of course this depends what game you're playing, and while I was gaming, this is a very quiet graphics card. This 2 ball bearing fan system here, very quiet. I actually turned up the fans 100% on one of my tests when I was overclocking it, and they're about the same loudness as the Titan X under full load, so they are very quiet, these fans. And when you're gaming, you're not going to reach more than 69 degrees. That's about the limit there. I think it hit 70 degrees once. So very cool card as well. And on Firestrike, you got a score of 6,564 stock. And when I overclocked it, it got a score of 6,832. And it's only an increase of around 2 to 3 frames per second when you overclock it. And I was able to overclock it to around 140 megahertz before it started to get a little bit unstable there. You would be able to eke a bit more out of it if you want to mess with voltages and stuff like that. I could get a solid 140 megahertz overclock out of it, but you're talking 2 to 3 frames per second there. Is that worth it to you? I don't know. For me, 2-3 frames per second at 1080p is not that much. At 4K, it's a lot, but at 1080p, it's not that much. So I wouldn't even bother overclocking it. But if that's your go, you got a bit of room there for overclocking. So in conclusion, I'm very happy with this ASUS graphics card here. The 1050 Ti is a great performer for its price compared to the RX 460, 23 to 32% faster. But this is DX11. When you go to DX12, it's a different story. And I will be doing a DX12 shootout soon. It's definitely trending where the AMD cards are performing better in DX12. So that 23 to 32% may drop down to very even numbers there. So I'll leave a video here of the ASUS Expedition 1050 Ti running the full GTA 5 benchmark at 1080p ultra settings there. I really can't recommend this card highly enough. Best bang for buck out there for 1080p gaming. And of course you get all the ASUS quality that you expect. This is probably the best graphics card at this price point. So thank you guys for watching. Be a champ and give me a thumbs up there. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. I've got lots more tech content coming soon. And until next time guys, tally ho.
シャイハイサイのスマイル